almost everyone around you seems richer than you. Here's what the data says. Most of the people who look rich aren't, and the people who are rich, you can't see anymore. About 25 years ago, Rich split into two different products. One of them went on sale. This is what happened, what it costs you every year, and what the wealthy buy instead. Picture a shop with two shelves. The top shelf sells looking rich, the car, the wardrobe, and the watch that costs a month's rent and tells the same time as your phone. The bottom shelf sells being rich, a home, an education, your health, your time. For 25 years, those shelves have been moving in opposite directions. A television used to cost a month's wages, and now it costs a day. A degree used to cost a used car, and now it costs a house. Today, anyone can afford the props of wealth, and almost nobody can afford the foundations. So when everyone around you seems richer than you, that's not a perception error. It's a manufactured illusion, built out of the prices themselves. Keeping up with the Joneses has never been cheaper, and that is exactly when it stopped working. In 2011, scientists ran an experiment that sounds like a prank. It was the same man in the same shirt, and the only difference was a small luxury logo. With the logo, half of strangers agreed to help him. Without it, about 1 in 7 did. In job evaluations, the same man, now wearing the logo, was recommended a salary 9% higher. The logo was doing real work. In 2017, researchers ran it again. 5 separate experiments this time. The effect was gone. People still read the logo as expensive. They just trusted the man wearing it less. In between those two dates, 7-year car loans became normal, and buy now, pay later grew 20-fold. You can now finance a sandwich in 4 installments. The counterfeit trade passed $460 billion. Once anyone can rent the look proves nothing. Someone I know learned this the expensive way. He wanted to start a business. He refinanced his house to fund it and spent the money on a brand new Mercedes. Because where he comes from, the meeting starts in the car park. That wasn't stupid. For most of history, that bet paid. He just placed it after the signal died. The business didn't make it. The Mercedes became the family car. He does his deliveries in a van. So if the people who look rich are renting it, where did the rich go? They're still spending. They just moved shelves. And the spending records show where the money went. Since 2007, the wealthiest households have been pulling money out of things you can see. The rich went invisible. These days, the most expensive car at the private school gate is the unremarkable one. Which means your brain's comparison is now wrong twice. The people flashing wealth mostly aren't rich, and the people who are rich are spending it where you literally cannot see it. Here is the list the title promised. The first thing they buy is knowledge. Education takes 6% of a top 1% budget, while the middle class spends 1%, and that number hasn't moved since the 90s. And before you object that degrees are a debt trap, you're right. About a quarter of them lose money. But education split into 2 products as well. The certificate kept inflating. The knowledge, the books, the lectures, the entire internet has never been cheaper. Buy the learning freely and buy the paper only when a door you actually want still checks for it. The second is health, because it's the one asset money can't buy back later. The third is boring ownership. They buy things that pay them instead of things that loudly cost them. And the fourth is time. And notice what the whole list has in common. Nothing on it is for show. Every item either gives them back energy or multiplies what they already have. I watched this list growing up. The wealthiest people I knew were also the most invisible. They wore no labels and drove no new cars. Everything went to the bottom shelf: land, houses, their kids' education, and gold. Because where they lived, gold was the shelf you could trust. 1 block of land they bought went up 6 times. You would never have picked them in a crowd. That was the point. You might be thinking, fine, I'll just shop the bottom shelf then. Except you've already noticed. That's the shelf that tripled. The feeling that you're behind where your parents were at your age is not in your head. At 35, their generation owned 21 cents of every wealth dollar in the country. Yours owns about 10. And owning means one specific thing here. Sell everything you have, pay back everything you owe, and whatever's left is what you own. Which is why the financed Mercedes lies twice. It raises how rich a person looks and lowers what they own in the same transaction. To be fair to the data, since 2020, the middle millennial has caught up to where boomers were at the same age. On net worth, the share of the pie has not. And the comparison game makes it worse in a way you can measure. When big money moves in around you, ordinary households save about 3% less of their income, and it leaks into visible spending. Why the bottom shelf inflated like this, the debt and the policy behind it, is the next video. Tonight, the 3% is yours to claim. So here are the 3 moves. First, flip your timing. The top shelf gets cheaper every year you wait, and the bottom shelf gets dearer every year you wait. Most people hurry the top and delay the bottom. Run it in reverse. Sort your next 3 planned purchases by shelf and let waiting work for you instead of against you. Second, claim the 3%. The leak runs on what you see, so curate what you see. Any account in your feed built on consumption is a salesman with a key to your living room. And ask one question before anything visible and expensive. Would I still buy this if nobody could ever see it? Third, copy the rich, not the costume. Take one recurring top shelf expense and move it to the bottom shelf: learning, health, ownership, or time. Every study in this video is linked below. Go check me. The look of rich has never been cheaper, and that's exactly why it's worth nothing. The substance never went on sale. Buy accordingly. One honest question for the comments. Your last big purchase. Which shelf did it come from?